Well, we have made so much progress from the time of the 1990s. In the 1990s, you never heard about psychedelic retreats. You never heard about people taking these vacations. You never heard about people getting together in groups and doing these things and coming back with these profound experiences that they relayed to other people, and literally seeing people change, seeing who they
Yeah,
are change, seeing people become less selfish, less toxic, less mean, and more empathetic and more understanding.
totally.
Yeah, I mean, I can only talk about it from a personal experience. It's been a radical change in my life, as well as, again, having all these conversations with different people. I feel so fortunate to be able to do this, that I've had so many different conversations with so many different people that think so differently, and so many exceptional people that have accomplished so many incredible things. And you get to sort of understand the way their mind works and the way they see the world, the way they interface with things.
It's awesome.
It's pretty fucking cool. And that is one of the cooler things about being a human, that you can find a way to mitigate all the negative aspects of the monkey body. And that there are tools that are in place. But unfortunately, in this very prohibitive society, this society of prohibition, we're denied those. And we're denied ones that have never killed anybody, which is really bizarre when, OxyContin can still be prescribed.
What's the deal with why we can't make if we leave like why we can't get these medicines that have transformed people's lives like more available? What's the deal with why we can't stop the opioid crisis? Or like
Boy,
fentanyl seems like just an unbelievable crisis for San Francisco.
you remember when the beginning of the conversation when you said that AI will do a lot of good, overall good, but also
Yeah.
not no harm. If we legalize drugs, all drugs, that would do the same thing.
Would you advocate to legalize all drugs?
It's a very complicated question, because I think you're going to have a lot of addicts that wouldn't be addicts. You're going to have a lot of
Yeah.
people's lives destroyed because it's legal. There's a lot of people that may not be psychologically capable of handling things. Maybe they already have, like, that's the thing about psychedelics. They do not ever recommend them for people that have a slippery grasp on reality as it is.
For sure.
People that are struggling, people that are already on a bunch of medications that allow them to just keep a steady state of existence in the normal world. If you just fucking bombard them with psilocybin, who knows what kind of an effect that's going to have, and whether or not they're psychologically too fragile to recover from that. I mean, there's many, many stories of people taking too much acid and never coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, these are like powerful doesn't seem to like begin to cover it.
Right. Yeah. But there's also, what is it about humans that are constantly looking to perturb their normal state of consciousness? Constantly, whether it's we're both drinking coffee, people smoke cigarettes, they take Adderall, they do all sorts of different things to change and enhance their normal state of consciousness. It seems like whether it's meditation or yoga,
Yeah.
they're always doing something
Yeah.
to try to get out of their own way, or get in their own way, or distract themselves from the pain of existence. And it seems like a normal part of humans. And even monkeys, like vervet monkeys, get addicted to alcohol. They get addicted to fermented fruits and alcohol, and they become drunks and alcoholics.
What do you think is the deep lesson there?
Well, we're not happy. Exactly. And then some things can make you happy, sort of. For like a couple of drinks makes you so happy for a little bit, until you're an alcoholic, until you destroy your liver, until you crash your car, until you're involved in some sort of a violent encounter that you would never be involved with if you weren't drunk.
I love caffeine, which clearly is a drug. Alcohol, like, I like, but I often am like, yeah, this is like,
Yeah.
this is like dulling me, and I wish I hadn't had this drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then other stuff, like, I mostly would choose to avoid.
But that's because you're smart. And you're probably aware of the pros and cons, and you're also probably aware of how it affects you and what's doing good for you and what is detrimental to you. But that's a decision that you can make as an informed human being that you're not allowed to make if everything's illegal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, when things are illegal, criminals sell those things, because you're not tampering the desire by making it illegal. You're just making access to it much more complicated.
What I was going to say is, if fentanyl's really great, I don't want to know.
Apparently it is.
Apparently it is.
Yeah. Peter Berg was on the podcast, and he produced that Painkiller documentary for Netflix,
Yeah.
about the docudrama about the Sackler family. It's an amazing piece. But he said that he took OxyContin once recreationally, He
And
was like, "Oh my God, it's amazing." He's like, "Keep this away from me. It feels so good."
yeah,
And that's part of the problem is that, yeah, it will wreck your life. Yeah, it will capture you
but it's
if
just
you,
so unbelievable.
but the feeling, like
Mm.
how did Lenny Bruce describe it? I think he described heroin as getting a warm hug from God. You know, I think the feeling that it gives you is probably pretty spectacular. I don't know if legalizing that is going to solve the problems, but I do know that another problem that we're not paying attention to is the rise of the cartels and the fact that right across our
Yeah.
border where you can walk, there are these enormous, enormous organizations that make who knows how much money, untold, uncalculable amounts of money, selling drugs and bring them into this country. And one of the things they do is they put fentanyl in everything to make things stronger. And they do it for like street Xanax. There's people that have overdosed thinking they're getting Xanax and they fucking die from
Whoa.
fentanyl. Yeah, they do it with cocaine, of course. They do it with everything. There's so many things that have fentanyl in them, and they're cut with fentanyl because fentanyl is cheap and insanely potent. And that wouldn't be a problem if things were legal.
So would you net out towards saying, all right, let's just legalize
Yeah,
it all?
I would net out towards that, but I would also put into place some serious mitigation efforts, like in terms of counseling, drug addiction, and ibogaine therapy, which is another thing that's illegal.
Someone was just telling me about how transformative this was for them.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that personally, but ibogaine for many of my friends that have had pill problems, and I have a friend, my friend Ed Clay, who started an ibogaine center in Mexico because he had an injury and he got hooked on pills and he couldn't kick it. Did ibogaine, gone.
One time done.
One time done. 24 hours, super uncomfortable experience.
It's supposed to be a horrible experience, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be not very recreational, not exactly something you want to do on the weekend with friends. It's something you do because you're fucked and you need to figure out how to get out of this fuckness. And that, like, we think about how much money is spent on rehabs in this country and what's the relapse rate? It's really high. I mean, I have many friends that have been to rehab for drug and alcohol abuse, and quite a few of them went right back to it. Quite a few. It doesn't seem to be that effective. It seems to be effective to people when people have, like, they really hit rock bottom and they have a strong will, and then they get involved in a program, some sort of a 12-step program, some sort of a Narcotics Anonymous program, and then they get support from other people, and they eventually build this foundation of other types of behaviors and ways to find other things to focus on, to whatever aspect of their mind that allows them to be addicted to things. Now it's focused on exercise, meditation, yoga, whatever it is. That's your new addiction, and it's a much more positive and beneficial addiction.